Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiri Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So continuing with the discussion on second canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, seventh chapter, scheduled incarnations with specific functions. Text number 9 onwards. Yadvenam utpatgatam dvij vakya vajra nishtulushtu porushabhagam nire patantam tratvarthito jagati putra padam chalebhe dugdha vasuni vasudha sakalani yena. Maharaj Vena went astray from the path of righteousness, and the Brahmins chastised him by the thunderbolt curse. By this, King Vena was burnt with his good deeds and opulence and was en route to hell. The Lord, by his causeless mercy, descended as his son by the name of Prithu, delivered the condemned King Vena from hell, and exploited the earth by drawing all kinds of crops as produce. So this King Vena, actually, he was son of Maharaj Nabhi. Nabhi Maharaj was very pious, and King Vena, on the other hand, was really cruel. Even when he was a little boy, he used to just um, kill the other boys who were playing with him, just for fun. And so his father, he basically took sannyas, went away, thinking this boy, I cannot correct him. And he just took sannyas and went away. Then Maharaj Vena, he became the king. And he was so cruel. He stopped all the sacrifices in the kingdom. And he told them that king is a representative of God, so you should worship me. Don't worship any other god. So Brahmins, and of course at that time, they were so pure. Brahmins went to him and told him to stop all this nonsense. So King Vena even chastised the Brahmins. So Brahmins, they just produced a curse. They just basically chanted the mantras and killed King Vena. They said, "You are not qualified to rule the kingdom." But when he was killed, since there was no king, the thieves and the rogues and the dacoits, they became very active in the kingdom, and they started to harass the population. So the popular people again went to the Brahmins, see, now what did you do? At least the king was there, even though he was bad king, but he was there, he was protecting us. Now there is no protector. So the Brahmins had kept the body of King Vena, and they went and they churned his body. So from churning of his arms, Maharaj Prithu appeared. So Maharaj Prithu was Shaktavesh incarnation of Krishna or Vishnu, and he had the Shakti or the power of administration. And then he ruled over whole earth for many, many years. And so, in fact, three people so far, three kings so far are considered the ideal kings. One was Lord Ram, because people still want Ram Rajya. Second was Maharaj Prithu. Third was Maharaj Yudhishthira. That they were the ideal kings. And I don't know if you know or not. In fact, when Modi ji, he became the prime minister. So somewhere I heard this conversation that they were discussing how he should rule, and then it was decided, or he came up with, because he has studied the scriptures. So he said, I will rule like Maharaj Prithu, because he's considered the ideal king. studied the scriptures, hopefully, the learned labor, and thus the process would go on as a perfect welfare state. The kings or the Kshatriya administrators would always consult the council of learned Brahmins. They were never autocratic monarchs. The scriptures like Manu Sahita and other authorized books of the great sages were guiding principles ruling the subjects, and they were such a code of democracy. So Maharaj Prithu would consult, would have this council of learned Brahmins, because Brahmins are considered head of the Varnashram system, and Kshatriyas are considered the arms. So the head is always there to counsel, to give the proper guidance to the arms. So, and Manu Samhita is a book that is supposed to be followed by the kings. And Prabhupada said, not some code of law in the name of democracy. The less intelligent mass of people have very little knowledge of their own welfare, as a child has very little knowledge of his future well-being. The experienced father guides the innocent child towards a path of progress, and the childlike mass of people need similar guidance. The standard welfare codes are already there in the Manu Samhita and other Vedic literatures. The learned Brahmins would advise the king in terms of those standard books of knowledge and with reference to the particular situation of time and place. Such Brahmins were not paid servants of the king, and therefore they had the strength to dictate to the king on the principles of scriptures. So these Brahmins, they were not paid Brahmins. Brahmins actually can never take salary. Brahman and Kshatriyas, they cannot take salary. Salary means you become a servant. And Brahmins were never servants. They were the advisors. So they would only accept charity. And Kshatriyas, because they have to rule, they are in mode of passion, so they can take the money, but not as a salary. Even then, it was not possible. Means they would have their own kingdom and they would rule over and they will have money. They'll do tax collection, the different kinds of way of making money instead of salary. So the Brahmins were also not. This system continued even up to the time of Maharaj Chandragupta, and the Brahman Chanakya was his unpaid prime minister. So that's why Prabhupada is saying the Brahmins could give the right advice because they were not bound by any money with the king. Maharaj Vena did not adhere to this principle of ruling and he disobeyed the learned Brahmins. The broad-minded Brahmins were not self-interested but looked to the interests of complete welfare of all the subjects. They wanted to chastise King Vena for his misconduct and so prayed to the Almighty as well as cursed the king. So that's how they killed the king. Long life, obedience, good reputation, righteousness, prospects of being promoted to higher planets, and blessings of great personalities are all vanquished simply by disobedience to a great soul. Simply by disobedience to a great soul or by committing offense to a great soul. All these opulences can go away. Long life, obedience, good reputation, righteousness, prospects of being promoted to higher planets, and blessings of great personalities. Like when we study about different demons, Ravan, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Kansa. So all these big demons, they had that opportunity to associate with great Vaishnavas, great devotees of the Lord. But rather than taking association, rather than serving these great Vaishnavas, they ended up offending. They ended up punishing these Vaishnavas and offending these Vaishnavas. And the result was all their opulence, all their prosperity, all their knowledge they had, all uh, the penances they had performed, and the results of those penances, everything was just vanished, just vanquished, just completely gone. Ravan committed offense against Mother Sita. Kansa committed against Devaki and Vasudeva. Hiranyakashipu committed against Prahlad Maharaj. Hiranyaksha, Mother Earth herself. So the idea was to take association and you'll live a long life and very opulent life, but they didn't do that. And the same thing Maharaj Vena is doing. One should strictly try to follow in the footsteps of great souls. Maharaj Vena became a king, undoubtedly, due to his past deeds of righteousness, but because he willfully neglected the great souls. In the Vaman Puran, the history of Maharaj Vena and his degradation are fully described. When Maharaj Prithu heard about the hellish condition of his father Vena, who was suffering from leprosy in the family of a Malecha, he at once brought the former king to Kurukshetra for his purification and relieved him of all suffering. So because wrong deeds, he was suffering in the Malecha. Malecha, they are even below the Varnashram. They are below the Shudras. So this is how he was suffering. But Maharaj Prithu, he wanted to do his father, and so he brought the king Akshet and he relieved him of all his sufferings. Maharaj Prithu, the incarnation of God, descended by the prayer of the Brahmins to rectify the disorders on earth. He produced all kinds of crops, but at the same time performed the duty of a son who delivers his father from hellish conditions. The word putra means one who delivers from hell, called put, that is a worthy son. So putra means one who delivers his parents from the hell named put. There is a hell named put in one of the 7 hellish planetary systems below Earth. So the father or a person who doesn't do proper activities and who commit lots of sins. So the son is the one who's supposed to deliver his father, either by becoming a devotee or by doing pious activity or by doing shraddha for his father. So Chanakya Pandit, because we talked about Chanakya Pandit in that purport, Chanakya Pandit says he was very heavy in his statements actually. If the son is not obedient or is not a devotee or is not a pious person, then the putra is actually equal to mutra because both come from the same point. He is I don't remember the exact words, but this is what actually it means. Putra and mutra, there is hardly any difference. If he's not a devotee and if he's not obedient or he's not a learned or whatever. So Chanakya Pandit was very, very heavy. So putra, actually the duty of a son is to deliver his fathers or forefathers. Now many times devotees ask me this question: what if the son, or suppose there is no son in the family, what happens? What happens to husband and wife if they don't have a son? So actually then the brother's son or somebody in the family in the same gotra, he should do the final rites, and the Shraddha ceremony. Okay. Nowadays, even that Brahman or doing the Shraddha ceremony, we don't know who's doing what. And suppose still the husband and wife, they don't have a son and they have a daughter. Can she deliver the parents? Although there are thousands and thousands of faults of Kali Yuga. So technically, by going by the Karma Kanda procedure, no. But going by the Bhagavad procedure, Bhagavad Vidhi, anybody can deliver anybody. So even a daughter, if she becomes a devotee of the Lord, then her parents will get benefited. Not just her parents, but animals. So we should perform our bhakti. And if there is no son, and if the person herself or himself is performing bhakti, he doesn't need a son to get liberated. So hardly matters then. Because in Bhagavad Marg, Krishna himself gets obliged for the devotees who are spending their time, their money, their energy in the service of Krishna. Krishna becomes very much obliged. And the devotees, they are not even asking for anything in return. So he gets more obliged to pay something, to do something for the devotees. So that is a special relationship between Krishna and his devotees. So the Karm Kanda Vidhi or that Shastrik Vidhi, that is yes, one has to follow the rules and regulations and perform the activities, perform the yagyas to get the benefit, to get the results of those activities. But Bhagavad Marg is different. Bhagavad Marg is marg of is a path of grace, where we depend on mercy of Krishna. And Pancharatrik Vidhi or Karmakanda Vidhi, Karmakanda Marg, is a mark of effort. So we would rather be dependent on the mercy of Krishna. Of course, in ISKCON we do both, we follow both. But the stress is on Bhagavad Marg. Pancharatrik Vidhi is when we do deity worship, so they have to be worshipped properly according to rules and regulations given in the scriptures. So that's for sure. But other than that, we basically follow Bhagavad Marg. It means the devotion path for devotion service. So that's always benefited. Relatives, his surrounding people, they all get benefited. That's how important it is. Text. Nabhera savrisha yo vachachara samdari jada yoga charyam yat param hamsyam rishya padam amananti swastha prashanta karna parimukta sangaha. The Lord appeared as the son of Sudevi, the wife of King Nabhi, and he performed materialistic yoga to equivalence the mind. This stage is also accepted as the highest perfectional situation of liberation, wherein one is situated in oneself and is completely satisfied. Out of many types of mystic performances of self-realization, the process of Jada Yoga is also one accepted by authorities. The Jada Yoga involves practicing becoming like a dumb stone and not being affected by of attack, external situations. Similarly, one practices Jada Yoga by tolerating voluntarily infliction of pain upon the material body. Such yogis, out of many self-infliction methods, practice plucking out the hairs on their heads They don't shave, they pluck the hair out without shaving and without any instrumental help. But the real purpose of such Jada Yoga practice is to get free from the material affection and be completely situated in the self. In fact, so these days, people who follow or perform some of these tapasyas, austerities, especially the plucking the hair out of the head instead of shaving them. So, according to them, that makes them more tolerant or more indifferent to all kinds of attacks, and they become like a jad, like a dumb stone. Means nothing happened. Just like this in the heart doesn't it doesn't do anything any good. So Jad stone, Jad yoga is like that. So they control the senses to such an extent that they didn't get affected by any sense gratification proposals. So plucking the hair out of the head is part of that. Means they get completely indifferent to the material world. In fact, I have heard, I haven't seen it, but I have heard these swamis of Akshardham temple. They do that. They pluck their hair out of the head. They don't shave the head. It's to make them more and more tough. That's the whole idea. It's very painful. We can just imagine if we have to pluck the hair out of my hand or leg, how painful it is. So what to speak of plucking the hair out of head? Very, very painful. But I guess they get used to it. At the last stage of his life, Emperor Rishabdev wandered like a dumb madman, unaffected by all kinds of bodily mistreatment. Seeing him like a madman, wandering naked with long hair and long beard, less intelligent children and men in the street used to spit on him and urinate on his body. He used to lie in his own stool and never move. That's how indifferent Maharaj Rishabdev was. And he was the father of Maharaj Bharat. So on Bharat Maharaj's name, this whole land was named Bharatvarsha. So this was Rishabdev. And Rishabdev was Shaktivesh avatar of Krishna, but he acted like a dumb man. But like here Prabhupada writing, he used to lie down in his own stool and never move. But his stool, so stool of the Lord or Lord's incarnation, the Shaktivesh avatar, even that stool was fragrant. Of course, it's not written here, but when the chapter comes on Lord Rishabdev teachings, it is mentioned that by his stool, I think it was 12 miles. The fragrance would from that point. So that's how wonderful even his stool was. Of course, he's Shaktivesh avatar, so Krishna can do anything through his Shaktivesh avatar. And this is what Prabhupada is saying. One should, later on he says, but the stool of his body was fragrant like the smell of fragrant flowers. And a saintly person would recognize him as a Paramahamsa, one in the highest state of human and should not, however, imitate Emperor Rishabdev. So just like these Jainis, they say we are followers, so we are descendants of Maharaj Rishabdev. So Digambar Jainis, there are two kinds of Jainis, Digambar and Shvetambar. So Digambar, who don't wear any clothes, those Jain Munis, they tried to imitate Maharaj Rishabdev. Like it is said, Maharaj Rishabdev wandered naked with long hair and long beard. So these Jain Munis also tried to do that. But Prabhupada is saying if they cannot make this too fragrant like Rishabdev, they should not imitate Rishabdev. That's what Prabhupada is saying. The real purpose of Jad Yoga is mentioned here in this verse is Prashanta Karana, or subduing the senses. The whole process of yoga, under whatever heading it may be, is to control the unbridled material senses, and thus oneself or self. Yoga cannot be of any practical value. But on the other hand, the practice of Bhakti Yoga is feasible because it's suitable for this age. So Prabhupada is saying, just chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and you'll be fine. That is the real yoga. Rishabdev's mother was also known as Meru Devi, although her name is mentioned here in this verse as Sudevi. It's sometimes proposed that Sudevi was another wife of King Navi, but since King Rishabdev is mentioned elsewhere as the son of Meru Devi, it's clear that Meru Devi and Sudevi are the same person under different names. So whether it's Meru Devi or Sudevi, his mother, it hardly matters to us. So what matters to us is the instructions and examples set by Maharaj Rishabdev. So anyway, I'll stop here. See anybody have any questions or comments? So I guess we can stop. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare